So you've come to this video most likely because you're taking one of my classes, and I have sent you a package that looks like this, um, Model Magic clay that we're going to be incorporating somehow into your project. This is a little information video just to let you know some of the things that you can do with the Model Magic and maybe have that serve as an inspiration for whatever it is you're going to be creating eventually. So I've got a couple processes I want to show you. I'm going to switch over to the above camera so that you'll be able to see all of those very directly. So be right back. So Model Magic is very versatile. Comes out of the package in a little blob, and I'm sorry this is a little bit overexposed. But it's very easy to use. It's very lightweight. It's not the kind of thing you can really use with water. It is what it is straight out of the package, and this is just what we got. So it's easy to tear, right? It's easy to cut. If you have things like scissors with a special edge, it's very simple. I don't have those with me here. It's very simple just to cut and to have a nice straight edge there, or to create little bits of whatever you might want. Very, very simple to cut and to tear. Putting things together, back together, for instance, if you wanted to make a little sculpture thing, and I'm just winging it here, and you wanted to stick another piece to it, you really don't have to do much other than put enough pressure to make them stick where they're not going to fall off from one another. And then you'll be able to, it'll dry that way, and you'll be able to, it'll be solid, right? So a couple tricks. This material can take things like lines marked on them. It will hold the shape. So I have a little paintbrush here, and I'm going to use this end, and I'm going to mark some things in there. And hopefully you'll be able to see that a little bit. Let me see if I can get to it. See, I made some marks in there. So if you have something that you want to put words on, or you want to draw a little picture in there, you're able to do that. You can use a pencil, you can use the end of a paintbrush. If you have an old pen you don't care about working again, that will be fine as well. If you mess up, all you have to do is squish it back together, and then it goes right back into something that you can shift into a different shape. I wanted to show you guys some ideas around color. Now these are Prismacolor markers. You do not need to have markers this fancy. This works with just about any water-based marker. I've not tried alcohol-based, but water-based I've done a lot of. And if you, because there's a couple things to see. So first of all, this will write directly onto this. You can do little pictures, you can do designs, whatever you want. This will go right on here, no problem, right? You could fill it in. So if there's something that you're making and you want to design it with the marker, then you have a very easy, quick way of doing that. Now there's another thing you can do, and again, I'm not sure how well this is going to work with these markers, but you can change the color of this clay to a certain degree. You don't get a solid red like this is, but you will get a pastel color. And so the way you do this is you just put the red color on there. I folded this one over, so I want to get a decent amount of color here real quick just to show you guys. So I folded it over, I've colored with more red on there, folded it over again, colored with more red. And then what happens next is you massage it in together, and it'll start changing colors. I'll show this to you a little closer here in a minute. I don't know if you can see that changing color. It's starting to change to pink. And I'm just tearing it, folding it back on itself, kind of like you would do with taffy. It's a little bit hard to see, but hopefully I'll be able to show you the difference in color between the white. It doesn't show up that much, shoot. Well, what I'm looking at is like a taffy pink kind of color here. And it's all through the clay. So if you want something, a color that goes all the way through the clay, then that's the technique to use. And again, once you're done getting all the color in there, you can put it back into a blob and form it into whatever shape you want. I'm going to take a minute and show you guys a little bit of how to do that. And again, I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush. So this is just a regular old paintbrush. I've got a blob of the Model Magic. I've turned it into a ball, and then you stick in the paintbrush. I want to make a little container, right? So I'm going to flatten it a little bit on here. So I've made the bottom flat. See, now it'll stand up on its own. And then I'm going to use this and put some pressure around to start to open up the hole. And that doesn't take a lot. You just need fingers on the outside and holding it and turning it and kind of stretching it. Basically what I'm doing is stretching it out as I go along, right? So now I have a little container. If you're doing something like the Wild Women, you might want to hang this on the outside. And so this is where we might need two things. So I'm going to get a paper clip, just a regular paper clip. I'm going to open it up a little bit so that the end is open like this. I'm going to put the paintbrush inside the container, and I'm going to use that as a place for the paper clip to make a little hole so that maybe you could use it to hang off your Wild Woman. I'll make another hole here. The paper clip could also be one of those things that you make designs with. So instead of the end of the paintbrush, if you wanted something a little more precise, you could make designs with the paper clip, right? Dots, anything you'd want, okay? And then when you're done, just let it dry, and it will dry to a very solid but lightweight consistency. This stuff is very lightweight. It's like foam kind of, which is very cool. Now, given the exposure of the light right now, I'm hoping you'll be able to see this, but another thing that I've done is use something very patterned like this. It's a crochet piece, and I've taken the Model Magic and I've smushed it out. Let me get up here where you can see this. I've smushed it out really thin, but not with holes. I just made a hole. Okay, so it's quite thin piece, and you can press it into the material, right? So I'm really trying to make it grab some of that texture, and you just peel it gently because you can definitely distort it. But for here, if you just pull it off this way. Now this doesn't always come out exactly like the pattern that you used, just because as you pull it off, as you can see, it distorts it a little bit. Oh, and it pulled a little bit there, but I hope you can see the texture that can achieve, right? And then that maybe is the part of I don't know, another piece that you're going to do. For the Wild Women, I've done things like the little bowl kind of thing that I just showed you. You can put things in here now, beads or whatever. I've created things like a heart, things that you can put on the back of behind the little faces that I send you guys, like part of the headdress kind of piece. There's so many different options for this. You have so many different options that you can use this for. Whatever your imagination can create, this is the stuff that's pretty easy to use. And I wanted to show you this just when I was switching back over to the other camera. Excuse me, you can see it better from this vantage point. So this is the color that I made using the marker and folding it up. And this is the original color of the Model Magic. So now you at least have an idea of what that looks like. Now, when I'm talking about doing part of the headdress on Wild Woman, I could see, you could pull this out pretty small and pretty thin. And this might have things on it on the outside that you have words, or maybe you shove beads into there. You can use it to create something that we wrap inside of the chest or in the arms or some of the other things we're going to be doing. This could be a little tidbit of what you want to put in the head or behind the little face that we're going to be doing, whether it's the headdress part or something that's just for you. And that was my intention with this Model Magic with the Wild Woman group. You can use this to create things that may just be for you to know is there. Something that's personalized, just like we'd write on a piece of cloth. You can write on this. You can turn this into different shapes. You can create a heart for that and fill the heart with the things that you want, and that heart goes on the inside. There's so many different possibilities. So I wanted to give you these options and get you thinking in this direction before we have our upcoming class with that. And let your mind go a little wild with the possibilities and see what can come up. I have also, I forgot this, but I've also pulled it out, and I don't know how well this translates, but you get this feathery stuff. It looks a little like, I don't know, something a little more ethereal. Whoops. Looks a little bit like taffy when you pull it out. Anyway, so many possibilities with this stuff. I hope you enjoy your little bag of Model Magic treasure.